Hey everybody. I'm on the internet and I'm looking at a lot of different things, about politics and, Candace Owens and, a lot of different things that are happening in the world. And, one of the things I've noticed is that, now that Candace Owens has, become more popular, I'm seeing more people, go on Twitter. Now it's called X. I'm seeing more people go online and try to discredit her. And I've noticed a lot of people posting stuff where they're like, oh, well, Candace Owens is wrong about this, or she said this and she said that. And Candace Owens just cares about herself and she doesn't care about Charlie Kirk. She just wants attention and all this other stuff. And my thing about, the whole, Candace Owens thing is that, everybody is so, I would say angry that she's talking about Charlie Kirk and different things like that. But, shouldn't we applaud somebody that wants to go out there and ask questions? Like, should we just follow the mainstream media when they tell us, oh, well, everything's under control and we're looking at this and this is, happened at, and this changed and this new piece of evidence came in and all this other stuff. It's just like, why are we getting on someone who knew Charlie Kirk and then someone who is asking questions? And the crazy part about it is a lot of these folks that are talking, and saying all this bad stuff about Candace Owens, a lot of these folks are Republicans. Like you expect it from the Democrats. The Democrats are always going to, have something to say, but you have a lot of Republicans that are coming out and sounding like Democrats. And, I think a lot of it is just jealousy. Because, there's other people that are, asking questions too. And they don't get the type of, blowback that she's getting. And so it just makes you wonder. It's just like, are people offended that she's, asking questions? Are they offended that, it's Candace Owens that is asking questions? Because, it's just crazy to me that somebody that knew this guy, somebody that cares about this guy, people are mad that she won't accept, what the government is telling us. It doesn't make any sense. And then also I want to talk about just the Republican Party. I voted for Trump in the, in the election in 2024. And, the more I'm hearing some of these establishment Republicans, I call them, come on TV and, do podcasts, the more I'm hearing some of these folks talk, they're almost sounding like Democrats. And the reason why I say that is because, we have Republicans talking about, oh, well, we should, make sure that stuff isn't said on social media and this is crazy stuff. And this is stuff that, Democrats like Hillary Clinton would say. And, my whole thing about it is, let people have free speech. If there's something that somebody's saying that people don't like, then you know what? Make a video or make a podcast and, make a counter argument to what that person is talking about. Like this whole thing of we've got to, censor people that are saying things we don't agree with is insane. And more that I'm, hearing some of these establishment Republicans, even when I go on YouTube, the more these establishment Republicans are talking about, oh, well, what Tucker Carlson said and this and that, it's just like, again, that's the tactics the Democrats use. Like, remember a few years ago when the Democrats, made Donald Trump, when they took his, Twitter account away and all this other stuff because they claimed things he was saying were irresponsible. It's like, why are Republicans going down that same path? And to me, it makes no sense. It's like, if somebody's saying something you disagree with, then guess what? Create a video or a podcast and, dispute those talking points or ideas that other person is, coming with. But this whole, somebody said something, so we've got to make sure we cancel their TV show or get them off the internet, or it's crazy. To me, it's crazy and it doesn't work. And just seeing these Republicans use that sort of tactic or talk about it, it's really turning a lot of people off. People who, it's their first time maybe voting for Republicans or they're independent. Like, a lot of people are turned off by that. And, my whole thing is for some of these folks like Mark Levin and Lindsey Graham, come on some podcasts and let people, talk with you, or at least say, you know what, I feel so strongly in what I'm talking about that I'm willing to debate anybody. At least have that attitude. And then maybe after a 2 or 3 hour conversation, maybe people will say, oh, well, you know what, so-and-so has a point. But this whole, I'm going to act like a Democrat thing and make sure that you can't say certain things and people can't be on certain social media accounts. I mean, or even, I've seen crazy stuff where you have some of these Republicans say, oh, well, it's the algorithm. The algorithm is pushing out stuff that's harmful and all this other stuff. And it's just like, come on now. It's like we got to get to the point where we're not afraid to debate ideas. If so, and again, that's what makes the world interesting. People are going to say things and do things that you disagree with. That's just life. And so it's really shocking to me. It's sort of sad, but this is one of the reasons why you're seeing this sort of civil war, as they call it, in the Republican Party, because a lot of these establishment Republicans don't get it. A lot of these establishment Republicans are tone deaf. I guess they're trapped in their little, way of thinking, but it's turning off a lot of just new Republicans, or Republicans that maybe didn't vote for Trump in the past. It's turning off a lot of those people. And so, again, I think the midterm elections is coming up in 2026. If I'm right or wrong, I don't know, but I think in 2026. And I wouldn't be shocked if the Republicans don't perform very well during those midterm elections, because it's like one of the things that Republicans don't realize is, okay, what happens when Donald Trump, he's not going to be able to run again. And so after Donald Trump is, not president after 4 years, it's anything could happen. I mean, the Democrats can come back in a strong way. I think Republicans got very cocky because, with Donald Trump is somebody, he almost reminds me of Barack Obama. I'm not saying as far as their policies, but they have very strong voter bases. What I mean is, a lot of people, when they see those two names, they draw a lot of attention, a lot of support. And when Donald Trump, isn't on the ballot, are some of these independents and some of these former Democrats going to vote for someone like J.D. Vance? It's going to be interesting, but the Republicans going forward after Donald Trump are going to be in a very weak position. And I would say even before Donald Trump, has to leave office as president. With these midterms coming up, anything could happen. And I think that, who knows, the Democrats, a lot of people are saying the Democrats are going to do very well. And so, try passing, different laws and things like that when the Democrats get back into power. It's going to be much, it's going to be tougher. And so the Republicans right now have to, again, some of these establishment Republicans, accept new voices, accept new people, and, find a way to, make people come together. It's like, we know the alternative, but you have to give people a reason to vote for you. Like the whole thing of, oh, well, this is just MAGA and vote for us. That's not going to work. You have to inspire people. People have to see changes in their life. And the economy is going to have to do better. It is what it is. And Trump is going to have to come through on some of the promises that he made. Again, he promised that, a lot of stuff with the legal immigration, he's been very aggressive with it. And okay, I'll give him that. Legal immigration, was he able to stop the flow of immigrants coming across the border in the U.S.? Yes. But it's just like he's going to have to use that same spirit when it comes to the economy. And you see him with these tariffs. It's like before he was putting a tariff on everything, and now it's like, well, let me backtrack. So it's just like, again, people don't want a person that's going to say something and then backtrack 50 million times. It's like either you're going to do it or not. And so, again, it's been almost a year or whatever, but I for the remaining years that Trump has, as president, he's going to have to pick up the pace with this economy. If the economic numbers don't improve, like if people say, groceries expensive, and we're noticing that, jobs are still being lost and things like that, then the Democrats have a good chance of doing very well. I don't want to see it happen, but it is what it is. And so, Donald Trump and the Republicans and his administration, maybe they need to, sit up and do some events with real people. Sometimes in life, you get trapped in your bubble. I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if you're poor. Sometimes if you're around the same people that agree with you all the time, you don't learn about what's really going on. And so I think that Donald Trump needs to talk with some real people, forget, getting advice from all of these Washington, D.C. advisors, and really maybe talk to a factory worker or talk to someone buying groceries, because they would let him know that, you're doing some good stuff, but then there's also a lot of stuff that, you can improve on. So that's just, my thoughts for today. But in the comment section, let me know, this about the economy. Like, how do you think Donald Trump's doing so far? Like, as far as his job performance, do you think Donald Trump is doing a good job right now? Or do you think, that he could really make a lot of improvements? So in the comment section, let me know how you feel. And then also, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. I talk about politics. I'm going to be talking about music, a lot of different things, but just subscribe to my channel. Also in the comment section, let me know how you feel. And then if you're on Spotify, you can follow me by just typing in Mark Parham podcast, and I should pop up. But anyway, thank you.